Alrighty. So the first step was manifestation. The second one was visualization. Um, Manifestation, being grateful for things, being positive, and envisioning things that you want to happen for yourself and speaking it into existence and talking about it like you already have it. Visualization takes it a step further. You literally see it in your day to day, your reality, and you introduce yourself to people as that thing you're envisioning yourself as, and you have other people, strangers, also doing the mental work for you because they think of you and they think of that title, they think of that position, they think of that stature that you present yourself as. And now that they're also envisioning you as that, and it's not just you, you're really using a collective energy to kind of build upon that visualization. So, third, for my religious folks, you're really going to understand this one, fasting and prayer. That's the one. Fasting and prayer. And I don't mean you have to fast from food. I just mean something that you are really attached to. Show God that you're willing to give it up in order to have what you really want in life. So if it is food that you really love, fast. And it doesn't have to be a long fast. I'm not asking you to go 40 days and 40 nights. I'm not even asking you to do a week. Honestly, you could just get through a couple days, 2 or 3 days, and give up something that you really find yourself obsessed with. So if that's food, if that's video games, if that's social media, whatever it is, give it up and just focus on connecting with God. Now, if you're not religious and you're like, "Ugh, eh, eh," it doesn't have to be like the Christian way. But if you believe in a higher power, if you believe in a higher being, have that one-on-one conversation with them. It doesn't have to be words because I know praying can be awkward for those who don't do it consistently, those who don't do it often. So even if you do it often, sometimes prayer is still weird and awkward. It's just like, well, how do I say this? How do I say this without sounding chaotic or sounding needy or sounding greedy or sounding weird? Or how do I ask for this when I haven't do I have I shown I'm deserving of it? Like it's a weird conversation to have with a higher power, asking them for something and you don't know how to ask for it, or you don't feel like you deserve it. But the thing is, again, that positivity. This is where that comes in. The positivity and the gratitude. I told you that would be the basis for everything, and I wasn't kidding. You have to view yourself as worthy. You have to view yourself as someone who deserves to enjoy all the best. I mean, for my Christian folks, it's literally in the Bible. Ask and you shall receive. And then in return, in terms of visualization, even when two or more come together and agree, it increases the chances of it happening. It makes it more likely to happen, which is why when one person was envisioning themselves in New York City, but another person and 24 of their friends were envisioning that person in Chicago, they now ended up in Chicago as opposed to New York City. And yet, when that same person introduced themselves as having a certain title to other people, they didn't talk about location. They just introduced themselves as having a certain title. They achieved that title because the more people you have on your side, whether it's just a natural, regular belief, like this is what they said they are, so this is what they are. Why would I believe anything different? Or it's a this is what they want and this is what I want for them kind of belief. As long as it's multiple people, it really increases that energy. But it's gotta be positive. Like you genuinely have to believe in yourself before you take these steps. And you have to find gratitude in everything. You can't question it. You're gonna be a millionaire. Why are you questioning it? Why are you overthinking it? You're gonna be a millionaire. No big deal. You're gonna move into that condo you want. No big deal. You're gonna get that car you want. No big deal. That position is yours. Why are you overthinking it? You know the position's yours. Stop overthinking it. It's yours. Don't second guess yourself. But when you want to have these conversations with God, or whatever higher power you believe in. Whether you prefer the term universe, God, whoever, you just simply have to literally let go of some worldly material that you're obsessed with and then have those moments of prayer, have that moment of focus and conversation. And it doesn't have to be verbal. Verbal can sometimes be awkward, but if you know what you want in your heart and you just don't know how to say it, that's when you can, in terms, meditate. Meditate and prayer, they're pretty much along the same wavelength to me. But I can't do an hour of manifestation, I mean an hour of meditation or an hour of prayer because I'm going to be asleep. I'm going to be asleep 3 to 5 minutes in. But I can do it multiple times throughout the day for like 2 to 3 minutes. I can just sit there and be like, God, like you know my heart, you know what I want, you know what I envision for myself, you know, like when I achieve those heights, I can do better for the people around me. I can do better for myself. I can be better, do better, consistently spread the message more. But I have to be at this level to do so. And I just ask that, like any barriers in my way, you just remove them. Anyone who's attacking me, you put a shield upon me and let it bounce off of me and right back to them. Well, I don't remember that saying as kids, but y'all know the one. Like anything you say to me bounces off of me and comes back to you, whatever it is. And you can just ask, like, hey, give me guidance, give me discernment, help me to see what is genuinely good for me. Close the doors I'm not meant to walk in. Open the ones that are best for me. And you can just say little prayers like this, just a couple minutes throughout the day. Just have these conversations with whoever you believe in. And if you've given up something while you're doing this, that means not only are you showing like your genuine, like, hey, whatever I've got to do for this, I will do. You're showing also that you have faith and like, hey, that's not something I need, but you, this higher power you're praying to, you are what I need. And you're showing your dependence and your faith in that higher power. And when you do that, you really do start to see stuff like it it's unbelievable how much faster, honestly, you see it when you have these conversations with the higher power. Like, yes, you can see it real fast in manifestation, but usually smaller stuff because you don't exactly know specifically who, what, um, or where might end up being an obstacle to you, might get in your path. That's not something you aren't a psychic. You can't see into the future. You're not a fly on the wall. You can't be in those rooms when so and so is having those conversations. And so and so may tell you that they said all good things about you, and actually they said all bad things about you. You don't know. You can't be in those rooms. But if you believe in a higher power and you trust in a higher power and you show faith towards said higher power, they can be there. They can be in those rooms. They can be like, hey, listen, I know you want to be friends with this person, but listen, there's a reason why I don't let your car start every weekend when you want to go hang out with them. Your car magically works Monday through Friday, but Saturday when they text you and say, hey, you want to meet up for brunch? Magically your car don't work. There's a reason I'm doing that. Like you have to show full faith and dependence upon that higher power though. Like if you're going to believe and trust in and go with that, you have to genuinely show your faith. And the best way to do that is to like give up something you're obsessed with. And again, I'm not saying do it for 40 days, not saying do it for a week. I'm just saying a couple days. Just show for a couple days that you are genuinely dedicated to full force going in on your belief of the higher power and asking them to literally clear the path for you. Part the Red Sea, okay? And that's something you can do best, genuinely the best to make everything that you want. Like, if you believe in a higher power, you basically believe that us existing right now is through that higher power. Everything we have is through that higher power. Like, we can say science that we were stars, we blew up, we pixie dust, came into the dirt, we grew into people. We could say we were monkeys, and we turned into people. But no matter how far you try to go back, again, the question is, how did that get there? And then how did that get there? And then how did that get there? And like no matter how far you go back, there's not really an answer. So most people come to the conclusion, like, at the end of the day, there's a higher power. How did that higher power get here? I don't know. You just give up. The wise man knows that he knows nothing at all, which is why I asked you guys at the beginning of this video to keep an open mind, because there are many questions in this world that will just never really go answered, and they're not meant to be. You can either embrace the life you have and the things that are going on and make the best of it, or you can spend all your time obsessing over the theories and not actually conceptualizing anything. I rather conceptualize things. I'm taking all the advice of all the philosophers and all the research they've done and all the studies they've done, and I'm hearing them out and I'm turning it into concepts, and I'm applying it to my day-to-day life, and I'm listening and I'm hearing and I'm giving what I need to give to receive in return. And so when I say fasting and praying, again, it does not have to be my God. It could be whoever you believe in. Now, if you believe in nobody, it's okay. You can skip this portion of it and you can use the first two instead. If you genuinely believe that there's no higher power and that there's a scientific answer for our existence, and we are pixie dust and atoms pulled from the ether, the ether, is it the ether? Pulled from the ether, bonded together, and voila. That's perfectly fine. I'm not making anything. Like I said, the wise man knows that he knows nothing at all. But the fasting and the praying probably isn't going to work for you. But I can tell you right now, if you've ever heard of chakras, one of the chakras that is on your body, it relates to spiritualism. And so, in order to be a fully open, fully awakened person, you have to have some form of spiritualism in your life. Now, let's say you're dabbling in all of them, a little bit in all of them. Like you like certain Buddhist principles, and you like certain Muslim principles, and you like certain Christian principles, and you realize that the basis of all these principles, the basis of all these books that all these different religions follow is love. And you're like, yeah, I don't see why you guys are all. I'm not asking you to commit to a religion. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying you do have to find some type of spiritual understanding and then focus on that. Because the final piece that I did that really like kicked things up a notch, and I did it right after fasting and praying. So it you could say both were really the cherry on top of the sundae. But I took a test, and I'll drop that test in the comments. But I took a test to see which of my chakras were closed or which ones were only like partially open. And one of them was my spiritual one. It was like, get it together, girl. You this one, you need to focus here. And so I was like, this is crazy because I just fasted and prayed. But you're right. You're right. Let me start praying more consistently. So even once I was done with the fasting, I continued with the praying. And a couple weeks later, I took the chakra quiz again, and all my chakras are open. Like everything was open. I was like, oh, am I enlightened now? Am I gonna be glowing and floating? Like, what's gonna happen next? What happened next was everything I wanted coming true. And I mean like back to 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 back. And it's still happening. Like the other day, I went to Dunkin' Donuts and I ordered my mom's drink, and I told her I was gonna order me a drink too, but the guy kept messing up her drink. So once we got her drink situated, I said, listen, I don't want to stress this man out anymore. I'm just not gonna order my drink. We get up to the window. I pay for my mom's drink, and I don't pull off just yet because my mom has this thing where she has to test her drink before we pull off, because if it's not good, she's gonna ask them to remake it. But Karen, I know. But I also understand getting what you pay for. Like you have expectations, you pay for those expectations, they should be met. I understand that too. So while we joke about Karens, not every situation was actually a Karen. But she tasted it, she's like, this is good. I was getting ready to pull off. The girl opened up the window and she said, hey, we made an extra drink. Would you like it? And I said, yeah. And I looked, I said, cookie butter and brown sugar. This is the drink I was going to order. This is the drink I was literally going to order, but I opted not to because the guy seemed like he was struggling. And like I see this happen to me every day now. Literally every day. little things that I want to happen for me are happening. Big things that I want to happen for me are happening. And there's no cap on it. There doesn't seem to be a cap on it. Like I'm around every corner just continually being blessed. Like I went from being basically almost homeless to getting a six-figure job. I went from having a car that was about to break down on me to having a car that is fully functioning like it was when it was brand new. I went from, sorry, hard to talk about. So I'm not gonna continue, but basically everything I've asked for and more continues to happen for me. And it really happened largely after I renewed my spiritualism when I really, really got deep into it. Like I was doing the manifestation and I was seeing it happen, but on a small scale. I was doing the visualization and I was seeing it happen, but again, I was taking time. It was taking months. When I fasted and prayed, when I got really into my spiritualism, when I was praying consistently daily throughout stuff would happen. I'd be like, you know what, God, I ain't even gonna worry about it. You got this big dog, because I don't. You got it. I don't know what to do. I have no idea how to handle this. I don't even know where to begin. I don't know where to start from. I don't know where it ends. You got this, because I don't. I don't know. You got this. And then the following week, he did. He got it. Everything was cleared away, wiped away, renewed, restarted, fresh start, everything. And from then on, it's just been little things that I'll have the craving for or want for, and they'll happen. I won't even verbalize it. It'll just be a passing thought. It'll be like, that's a cute movie theater. I want to go there next week. I mean, I don't know if I want to pay tickets for it. And then my colleague will come in my office like, hey girl, I got these extra tickets for this movie theater this weekend, but I'm not going because I actually realized I have a flight out of town this weekend. You want them? I'm like, yeah, how much are they? You ain't gotta pay for these. What the Don't mind if I do, but it's just kind of crazy how that keeps happening. Little stuff like that keeps happening, and I'm not verbalizing anything I want. It's just a little passing thought, and then it happens. It's a little wish that I have that I don't think about again, and then it's when it happens that I remember, like, oh my God, wait a minute, this is what I wanted. It was just a passing thought, though. I didn't overthink. I didn't expect anything to happen, and so when you're able to fully complete all of these steps, when you're able to fully commit to your journey and yourself, you see magic happen. You see it happen almost like in the blink of an eye. When I tell you I went from super downward spiral to literally the next week just being back to 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 back blessings. When I tell you I was crying, I went from crying every day because I was almost depressed to crying every day because I was so happy and so joyous and I did not know how to express it otherwise. It was like it was the flip of a switch. Like it was that quick. And it was a combination of all of those things. But I'm telling you, when I did the fasting and praying, and then I opened up my chakras and really, really dived deep into my spiritualism and was giving it all to God, trusting Him, which it says that in the Bible too, by the way. It says trust in Him. Do not worry. I do not remember all the verses. If I had my mom in here, I'm sure she could name them all like this. I cannot. But I remember that verse. And that's basically just what I've been doing. I do not overthink it. I do not worry. Someone comes in my office all panicked, and I'm just like, it'll get taken care of. And that's it. That's that. It's gonna get taken care of. Rather, I gotta figure it out, or I just leave it in God's hand and He takes care of it before I can even touch it. But that is pretty much the recipe. The recipe to success is hard work, a little bit of delusion, but a whole lot of patience, a whole lot of positivity, a whole lot of gratitude, and a whole lot of realization. If you can do that, you'll achieve everything you want X exponentially.